Hello again, everyone. And to quickly answer your question, that behemoth you saw in the intro was none other than a turtle hybrid I had constructed fairly recently that I am naming Akapura after this turtle god in Hinduism that symbolizes stability, strength, and endurance. And yeah, really in this video I'm just going to be going over why I made my turtle hybrid and really just what makes it as great as it is. So let's dive right in. So recently, as you might have some recollection of me joining Zane's Skybrid War, another person whose channel I will be displaying right here has started a hybrid tournament based off animals from the Cenozoic era for my people who are less nerdy. That's like your saber-toothed tigers, your woolly mammoths, and your giant sloths. Maybe even titanoboas. And I decided I wanted to enter and see if I could maybe establish some form of victory over most of the hybrids in this war. Although there came a problem with something like this. Unlike Zane's hybrid war, where I'm creating a hybrid specifically designed to take out one creature, this is a tournament. I'm going to be fighting other people's hybrids, so Akupura needs to be versatile. And I was thinking, and every animal has some big form of weakness or some form of offense that doesn't work on other animals, so that's when I had the idea, why not make a turtle? All around, its defense is great, it has just enough offense, but the thing is, even if I won't be able to completely kill an animal, they won't be able to kill my turtle, and that is good. That is what we want. So, as I said, I'll be going into all of Akapura's contributors, and in my opinion, what makes this eligible for a top spot in this tournament. So our first contributor being the base for the animal, as I previously said, or at least the base, has to be an animal from the Cenozoic era. For this, we will be using the Carbonemys, a prehistoric species of tortoise that had a shell that was about 5 feet in length, and that's going to be the overall base for the animal. Of course, unlike turtles, tortoises have more column-like legs built to support the large body that a turtle has on land instead of in the water. And really, that's all Carbonemys will be contributing. The next big contributor, notice how I said big, as this contributor actually will give us the size that we need. The Archelon. The Archelon was the largest turtle, being a whopping 15 feet long, or at least that's its shell length. And yeah, it was an absolute behemoth of an animal, and we're going to be taking all of its size. Now, there is really one big problem that comes with using Archelon as a base, and that's the fact the only reason it was able to get as big as it was is because it was a sea turtle. Since it was in the water, its muscles stayed cool due to the surrounding water absorbing its heat output from overworking muscles, not to be confused with how mammals output heat to stay warm. The working of the muscles does emit heat, as any form of motion or work does, and this heat would normally stop an animal from being able to function, although because the Archelon lives in the water, that water helps cool it off. And really, a turtle wouldn't be able to get bigger than Archelon, because even though it's a sea turtle, its limit is that it has to come on land to lay eggs. And if it were any bigger, when it would do this, it would overheat and die. Although, our next contributor will fix this problem. Our next contributor, as in the rules, we are allowed 2 of any combination of dinosaurs or marine reptiles. Of course, the first marine reptile we used was Archelon for size and the larger shell. And for our dinosaur, we will be using the Ankylosaurus. First of all, just to get it out of the way really quick, we will be taking the clubbed tail from the Ankylosaurus, as that will allow us to defend the turtle's backside, as we don't want anything coming from behind. And what I was just talking about earlier, this will fix the problem with the Archelon, hopefully. Ankylosaurus, well, you see, dinosaurs as a whole had one specific trick up their sleeve that still shows today in modern birds that allowed them to get nearly as big as they could. And that was its method of breathing. You see, birds and dinosaurs, instead of having lungs and inhaling and exhaling, they have a system of air sacs that allows a constant airflow through their body. This is actually the most efficient form of breathing in any organism, and also allows for the body to stay cool. Also, dinosaurs, and Ankylosaurus included, had air sacs in their bones and muscles. This allowed them to be lighter. This also allowed them to have more thermal regulation. This is why animals like the Argentinosaurus were able to get to sometimes over 100 feet long and not overheat, as if you took an animal from, like, the modern day, like some sort of mammal, and made it that big, it would not be able to survive, because the muscles of the animal can't maintain that size. Though they were big, because of those air sacs, they weighed a lot less than they actually should have. And we will be using these air sacs on our turtle to, of course, he won't be fast or anything, although he'll be able to keep his body cool and keep himself energized. The next contributor for our animal, going more into defense, bouncing off of the club from the Ankylosaurus, will be the thorny devil lizard. This lizard is, of course, littered in spikes all over its back, head, tail, and legs, and we will be most definitely using these for Akapura, mainly because turtles that are hunted in the wild are hunted one of 2 ways. Either A, they're small enough that an animal can get its jaws around it, crushing it, or B, animals are just larger than the turtles. You have these bears that will sometimes decide they want to eat a turtle, and they just use their sheer weight to crush it. Well, our Akapura will most likely be going against mammoths and giant sloths that will be submitted by other people, and we need a way to resist this crushing. And my method for this is the thorny devil, as since the top of its shell will be covered in spikes, if something were to try to kill Akapura by crushing it, it would of course impale its feet, and it probably wouldn't be able to walk, as it'd be like the equivalent of stepping on nails. Also, if we go against a pack of animals like you saw in the thumbnail, they won't be able to jump on his back since it's covered in spikes, which is a very good thing, as Akapura would be in a horrible situation if that happened. The next contributor, this is where we get to Akapura's main form of offense. His next contributor is the common snapping turtle. Now, not to be confused with the alligator snapping turtle, as there's one specific reason for this. Alligator snapping turtles can't retract their heads, as their heads are too big and they're too robust, and they can't be pulled inside their shell. They also don't have the proper neck structure for this. Common snapping turtles, on the other hand, have a retractable neck and a smaller head that can be pulled inside their shell, and this neck is actually surprisingly long. As people that own snapping turtles, it's heavily advised to not hold them from the sides, as their neck can reach to the sides of their body. So that really allows us to defend and attack any animals that come at our sides or front, as we'll be able to strike and pull those animals into our jaws. And also, though I just kind of said why we won't be doing this, we will be adding a little bit of alligator snapping turtle, as they do have stronger jaw muscles than the common snapping turtle, although we won't be using anything else. Oh yeah, we'll also be taking the stronger shell from the alligator snapping turtle, as not only does it have a strong shell, it just, look at it, it looks awesome. That's a really awesome shell. And the final contributor to end everything off will be the Komodo dragon. The Komodo dragon will provide us with blood thinners in our saliva, making it so on a larger animal, all we have to do is land 1 or 2 bites, and the animal will hopefully bleed to death while we hide in our shell. And it will also provide a mild iron coating on the beak, just kind of strengthening that keratin, and making it so our beak will be able to resist the wear and tear that it'll most likely go through biting through the multitude of different armors that we will face during this tournament. So, really, Akapura will most likely do well. He has a brilliant form of offense, being his snapping turtle jaws, being able to crush bone and get through armor, and is really defended at every angle. Nothing can attack him from the top, back, or sides. And really all we have to do is hope that whatever animal is sent his way, he will be able to plow through it and continue. Now that I've brought all this up, I want to bring up battle strategy. So, my main battle strategy for Akapura is quite interesting. Typically, when an animal's cornered, this is seen as something really bad, as the animal has nowhere to escape to. Although, since we are using a giant tortoise, it can't escape. It's simply too slow and would most likely get tired, as that's just how tortoises are. So, we will actually use the walls of the arena to our advantage. Akapura will, hopefully, hide up against these walls, eliminating half of its body from being attacked. And then all it has to do is focus on defending the other half and attacking whenever it gets the opportunity, as whenever the animal comes in for a strike at a possible weak point, it will snap and keep the animal away with its tail. And theoretically, you should only have to land 1 or 2 bites at most for that anticoagulant to kick in and cause that animal to start bleeding to death. Once this happens, and this is under the assumption it's a larger animal, as a smaller animal would probably die on bite, the animal would probably start to get dizzy, and that's when Akapura will finish the job. For you, the guy hosting the war, all the technical stuff is in the description. So dare I say it, send your mammoths and send your sloths and your snakes and your bears and your saber-toothed tigers. Akapura's hungry and I wouldn't want to keep him.